Okay, whoa, I need to comb my hair or something. No, it's too late to comb my hair. Okay, we're live, and it's July 2nd. I'm on my laptop, I'm in my office, I'm working, and happy 4th to everybody, to the country. 250. Wow. Anyway, July 1st has come and gone. New fellows are here, new residents are here, no new faculty, but old fellows are gone, old residents are gone, old faculty is gone. So the usual July turnover, and hope everything is smooth where you are as well. CTisus, we're working on a whole bunch of new things. Obviously, our new app, or newest version of the app for the lecture series, came out a couple days ago, and we're about to release the new CTisus iQuiz, so that'll be kind of good. Adding a lot of cases, a lot of material, a lot of everything. So that's all going to be good. Um, Now, one of the things we've written about recently is lymphoma. Well, common disease. But we looked at lymphoma of the kidney, and we looked at lymphoma of the pancreas, and we looked at lymphoma of the liver. And we just looked at those. Obviously, when you think of lymphoma, you think about adenopathy, chest or abdomen, bulky nodes. With treatment, nodes can be somewhat cystic, nodes in case vessels. We talk about things like the sandwich sign, and we talk about bowel involvement. We talk about the stomach, the small bowel, the large bowel. We talk about different appearances. But let's just look at some of the less common organs we think about. One is the liver. You can get liver and splenic involvement very commonly in lymphoma. Presentation in the liver can be diffusely infiltrating, hard to distinguish maybe from a hepatoma. Can be single lesions or multiple lesions of various sizes. Can be hard to distinguish from metastatic disease. Um, we talk about encasement of the vessels in the hilum, kind of like the equivalent of a sandwich sign. People talk about a floating vessel sign. So that's one of the things you can think about in the liver, that infiltration centrally. Obviously, if you have liver involvement, you probably will have nodes, but not always. And you may have other organ involvement, particularly the spleen. They tend to go together. We talk about the pancreas. Now, we talk about pancreas every once in a while. You have a mass in the pancreas, it's hypodense, there's no duct dilatation, common or pancreatic. Mass is somewhat large, it ends up being lymphoma. Lymphoma can be small or larger masses. It could be single or it can be multiple. With lymphoma, you can have diffuse infiltration around the vessels like celiac and SMA and the gland itself. It could be diffuse infiltration of the gland, almost looking like an autoimmune pancreatitis without that halo. But so again, pancreas, solitary mass, multiple masses, often without duct dilatation, diffuse infiltration, tumor in the hilum growing into the pancreas, and of course, again, multiple involvement zones are things you need to think about. We talk about the kidney. We talk about solitary versus multiple masses, from small to larger masses. We talk about unilateral and we talk about bilateral. We talk about infiltration in the perirenal or pararenal space. Again, lymphoma may only involve the kidney, though that's uncommon. But again, when it's big, can simulate a clear cell or just a papillary RCC. When they're multiple, can simulate metastasis. I just saw an interesting case the other day of breast metastatic to the patient's kidneys with multiple bilateral lesions that was small. When they're small, of course, if patients immunosuppressed, you can think about an abscess. And in a patient with lymphoma who's getting chemotherapy, that question about splenic or liver abscesses, renal abscesses versus tumor can be a challenge sometimes. Usually not. With abscesses, you do get multiple organs, spleen, liver, maybe the most common, then maybe kidney. But again, the abscesses, which are usually fungal, are much smaller than the typical tumor masses. So I wanted to remind people that when you're staging lymphoma, think about looking at all of the glands becomes very important. Also, I wanted to make the point that sometimes lymphoma can simulate other diseases. Again, whether it's renal cell carcinoma, whether it's hepatoma, whether it's pancreatic adenocarcinoma. When something doesn't look right about the image, I mentioned a big pancreatic mass in the head, infiltrating, not very much enhancement, but no duct dilatation, you got to think about lymphoma. So lymphoma is, we know, a great mimicker. And of course, you look elsewhere. You look at the small bowel, you look for nodes, you look above and beneath the diaphragm. Lots of possibilities. Two good articles, you can look them up online by Zara and Harshna. If you have any problems finding them, let me know. You can look at them up under my name. But they've all been published in abdominal radiology or in emergency radiology over the past couple months. So with that, I'll stop there. Those of you who have to work this long weekend, good luck. Those of you who are off, keep cool. If you're on the East Coast, you know it's over 100 record highs. I guess we're not going to look for a lot of sympathy because same thing is true in Europe, France, and England, and everywhere around the world. Anyway, have a great extended weekend if you're going to get it. If not, just have a great day. See you soon, and keep safe.